let's go on. Okay, so here we are. Francesco, you have heard this, correct? It's Francesco Rossi, who is already accepted into the program. So he's heard a lot of this, but I'll go through it anyways. Jordan is here as a current student. Amanda might join us as well a little bit later. She's working at the moment, but she said she wanted to get on a little later, but it's not critical, just in case anyone has any questions. Okay, so let me go through the presentation. Here we go, this one. Okay, so this is the presentation. This is to point out that Tel Aviv International has a series of programs that are in English. Tel Aviv University itself has about 30,000 students in all, but most of those, 90% of those, are Israeli students who learn in Hebrew programs, Hebrew spoken programs. There are some equivalent programs taught in English, and these are them: 18 masters, 3 bachelor degrees. There's also short-term programs and study abroad programs as well. But we're going to focus on conflict resolution as a master's program. So I am going to pay, oh, I always forget about this part. Let's see if it'll work, if you'll be able to see it. Hold on, let me just.
We can't see it, Corey.
We can't see it. Okay, I always
need to change the screen that you're sharing, I think.
I'll do it now. Okay. So stop sharing. So this is our, I do this like once a year, so I always forget this part.
And you need to optimize for sharing video when you do the share thing.
Yes, yes. Optimize for video clips. And where am I here? Am I doing the right one? No, that's PowerPoint. Here it is. Okay, so this is a video that was created by Tel Aviv International. It's not about our specific program. And it is designed to give you an idea of what it's like to study at Tel Aviv International in one of the programs. So I'm going to play it.
Tel Aviv University International, the only place in the world where you can study Taoism. What is Taoism? Well, it's a local philosophy that says the best way to study is through experience. Understand with your head, learn with your feet. The best way to study a multicultural society is to live in one. Be ready with your elevator pitch. You never know who you'll meet on campus. If you want to learn the best marketing strategies, just go to the local market. Reading about the startup nation? Write your own chapter. Study literature in the place that inspired the bestseller of all time. You can't resolve a conflict until you witness one. At TAUi, there is always room for more questions and 400 labs to find the answers. Come experience the wisdom of Taoism at Tel Aviv University International, where first-class education meets a second-to-none lifestyle.
Okay. So Francesco, did you hear that and see that?
Yes, I did.
Perfect. Okay. Just checking, making sure I'm not very technically savvy, not about Zoom. Okay. Let's go back to the presentation. Nope, doesn't matter. Okay. So that was an overview of Tel Aviv University in general and the city of Tel It's a very dynamic, interesting place. Jordan, if you want to speak to that at all, feel free to say something, your experiences living in Tel Aviv. I think it really adds to any program you might be on. Jordan, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think maybe earlier this year it was some travel magazine rated Tel Aviv as the most fun city in the world. I think that's definitely true. There's always something going on, whether you're into like nightlife or restaurants or like cultural events, and there's a beautiful beach and the weather is great and it's a wonderful place to live.
Okay. But this is an academic program. And as an academic program, we have to highlight that there is a lot of work involved. Well, maybe Jordan, you'll speak to this after, because I will ask you this, how much time you have for the fun activities. But let me get to what this program is all about. It's a 10-month program. It starts in October. It ends in August. There are 3 semesters. If you're not that interested in what's in the summer semester, you can always actually complete it in 2 semesters. But there is a final cumulative assignment at the end, but you don't have to be in Israel to actually do that. You can do it from anywhere and send it in by email. Everything is taught in English. There are courses in Hebrew and Arabic that are taught in both the university and private schools outside the university. The courses taught in the university tend to be in the morning or during the day at very specific times. The other schools that I know of teach mainly in the evenings to a group of not just students, but also tourists or people who move to Israel who want to learn Hebrew. So learning Hebrew or Arabic is quite easy to do. The program is very interdisciplinary, it's very practical, and it's very experiential. It really does mix the aspects of the different subjects: political science, social psychology, international law, religion, culture, economics, in different ways to both give theory and show how that theory matches what happens in the field. And then you often get to experience that as well, living in Israel, just being in an area of conflict that is talked about a lot. You don't see it very often, but it's definitely talked about a lot. We have a strong emphasis on skills development. We do a lot of, there are courses that are very focused on specifically how do you solve conflicts. That's through skills of negotiation, mediation, facilitation. And it's very important that those courses are mainly you as students really not just learning what the theory says, but really trying out the skills and developing your own skills in that classroom. We deal with a lot of case studies from all around the world, not just about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's case studies from everywhere, and it could be a case study of 2 dog owners arguing about something, or Israel and Egypt, or North and South Korea. These sort of things come up in these type of case studies at various levels, come up in all different classes. We also do highlight a lot of experiences, taking students on trips, encouraging you to do internships, to volunteer, to go to workshops that are not for credit, either in the university or outside the university. And that's a big part of the program as well. We let you know all the time. Jordan can attest to the fact that I send way too many emails, letting people know of, mostly it happens in the spring, of guest speakers and things that are going on either on the campus or off campus. The program itself includes a course which is a mediation workshop, which includes certification from Tel Aviv University. You don't become a formal mediator. I don't want to give that impression, but you do learn a lot of skills in mediation, and the certification really does help if you go on in your own country or state or province, wherever you live, to become a mediator. It's very helpful in that. We have some very direct experience with that. The people who work in the program, who teach, have firsthand experience. Most of them are practitioners, not necessarily professors. They are lecturers with PhDs who work in the field and bring their practical experiences with them. And there's also, just to point it out, there's also an optional thesis here for anyone who wants to go on to a PhD. Francesco, you've heard this, but feel free to interrupt at any time with questions. It's fine. And Jordan, same to you if you have anything you would like to highlight. So this is about the curriculum. I've already said most of this and how it really is interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary in different ways. And that's mainly in the second semester and third semester, where the courses are drilled down into what is a conflict, why are there conflicts, and it does so from a variety of subjects. And so people who come in with different ideas of what they want to do, whether they want to go on to do something in at the political level, or they want to work or run an NGO, or for business or art, for example, you can get something out of almost every class that will give you a solid basis in learning these subjects. Where do our graduates end up working? This is in order from what I estimate. I would say the first is governments. It's not necessarily the federal government, but that is a place. So we have people who work in the U.S. Department of State. We have people who work in various parliaments around the world, and who work at more either provincial or something like the European Parliament, regional governments, and also local governments. The next group I would say are the NGO world, people working for either nonprofits or international NGOs, like IGOs such as the UN or Save the Children. It's also a pretty common place. Then I would say next there's nonprofits. It's mixed in there as well. Then I would say think tanks and consulting. Often that's even a part of it can be a part of an NGO. It can also be a part of the private sector. So it comes to mind are some students who work for Visa Card, the credit card company, doing consulting about conflict situations, conflict areas, how to deal with them for travelers, for example. Or think tanks. There's different types of think tanks. It's not all academic think tanks. We're coming up with policies. There are different types of think tanks all around the world. Also, some of our students end up going on to other programs, mainly PhDs or law school. I want to point out that there is Tel Aviv International, which is an umbrella organization that deals with all the programs and all the students in all the international programs. They have a student life team who is very, very helpful when students need help. That could be if there are holidays coming up, so they let you know about the holidays and what there is to do. That could be dealing with orientation or even some social and cultural activities. They arrange a lot of the trips that are outside of our program. They do their own trips to various places, so you get to know what Israeli society is all about. And they also help you with finding housing. If you have medical issues, you can always go to them. They'll help you out. They'll explain how to navigate the systems. We're also here for that, but that's their expertise. I know some things, but I always try to send our students to them because they're much better than I am. That's generally the program. If you have specific questions about application requirements, you can always reach out to me. Our deadline is July 31st, but it's not in stone. We do accept people after that. July 31st I give is because applying for a visa is around that time. And in Israel, things shut down for the Jewish holidays for about 3 weeks. And so things become a little, that's why we prefer people apply as early as possible when you're dealing with issues like visas. We actually don't have an issue accepting people until the last minute. The administration hates us for that, but I think a good candidate is a good candidate, and it's okay even if they come late. Okay. Do you have any other questions? And I see somebody new. Jordan, do you want to say anything about your experience as a student? You're on mute.
Yeah, well, there's a lot I could say, but it's been a really interesting program for me. I've learned a whole lot of different things, and I've really broadened my knowledge about conflict in general, and also just especially the conflict in the Middle East. In the second semester, in the first semester, basically all your classes are compulsory classes, and that's focused on like a very wide range of subjects. You do like international law, politics, negotiations, things like that. And then in your second and third semesters, you have a lot more choice to decide what aspects of conflict you're interested in looking at. And you not only have the classes from our program to choose from, but you can also choose classes from other masters or overseas programs that you might be interested in, that you might think are relevant to you, which is really cool. There's a huge range of things you can do, from history to entrepreneurship to law. I'm doing a class on contemporary anti-Semitism because I thought that would be interesting, and that's been a neat add-on to have, and to make me think about conflict from a different angle too. It's great living in Tel Aviv. The program, especially in the first semester, is like it's not a complete walk in the park. Let's say that, but in the second,
it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a fair bit of work. But in the second semester, you can kind of space out your classes a lot more, and most people will kind of do more extracurricular things like internships, or I decided to do like intensive Hebrew classes every morning. That was kind of how I used my time. So yeah, there's a lot of flexibility there too, in the later part of the course.
So I know you come from a law background, but there are students with a variety of backgrounds who came into both, I mean, from all over the world, and in terms of what they've studied or what they've done before. Did anything surprise you about that? Is that what you expected coming into a program like this?
I really had no idea what type of people would be coming, although I perhaps assumed it would be a lot more, or that most students would be kind of politics type students. But the wide range of perspectives has actually been really great. Students that come from backgrounds in education, or like dance, or environmental science, as well as politics and law as well. But they all have, some of these students with different backgrounds, I think, ask the best questions in class because they see things differently, and they add a really cool dynamic, really interesting dynamic to class discussions. I've really appreciated that.
I'm assuming also you're saying, because this is my impression also, and I try to expose you guys to as many aspects of conflict and conflict resolution as possible, because you never know in the future what will stick in your mind. We had, I remember in the interdisciplinary seminar, there's a guy who talks about space, a conflict in outer space. Who would have thought of that? Like, I like those ideas that you could be, it doesn't matter what you go into, that you know that there are conflicts in places you would have thought of, and ways of dealing with them that you hadn't thought of.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if anything out of this course, you will get like an amazing general knowledge about conflicts, not just in the Middle East, but also all over the place. And it's really great.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jordan. Is there anything else you'd like to say before I ask Francesco if he has any questions?
Francesco has any questions? Otherwise, I can try and think of things to say.
No, it's okay. Francesco, do you have anything you'd like to ask?
I think I don't have any further question. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't know if you have ideas or plans around housing. A lot of students like to live in the dorms, which are right next to campus. that's really convenient, and it's also like a good price. I decided to live off campus because it's kind of more in the campus isn't in like the most interesting part of the city. And so I kind of wanted to be closer to where things were happening, and also to have a bit more flexibility. But yeah, students, apart from like a very, very rare occasion, they always find housing that they like. So yeah.
Yeah, everyone worries a lot about housing, and I get it. It's a different country, and it's very quick and dynamic. That's something that people don't. I don't know what it's like looking for an apartment in other places, but there are lots of places for rent, but they go really quickly. So you have to be very quick, and some people get very stressed out about that.
Yeah, exactly.
But everyone finds a place.
Yeah,
we've never had a student who didn't find a place.
Like, I think it would be, you might be like fooling yourself a bit if you're thinking you'll find an apartment on Facebook before you arrive here.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's like, go stay at an Airbnb or an Abraham hostel for like 2 or 3 days, and that is the time that you'll find an apartment. And you'll be.
I always tell people 2 weeks, just in case, because not everyone is as quick. I'm very quick. I see something and I like it, I take it that minute. But I also got trained in this country to do that.
You basically need to just tell the person, I want this, and I will put my signature on the contract right now. Exactly. No, I want to think about it. If you keep saying you'll think about it, you will never get anything.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't organize it before you come, because nobody here knows if you're real. They're never sure if it's, they want to see you. They want to know you exist and that you're real, and then it's not a problem. So
yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to think of anything that ever comes up. People always ask about trips. We talked about that. We do lots of trips. What was your favorite trip? Just curious.
I've enjoyed all the trips we went on. For me, the Gaza border trip was really interesting, especially going to the Erez crossing, and just kind of watching the people come over the border from Gaza into Israel, and kind of learning about that. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, but we also we go up to the border with Lebanon, and we go to a town that's kind of half based in Israel and half based in the West Bank. And people go shopping there and buy cheap cigarettes because it's in the West Bank. We have trips to the Israeli Knesset, the Parliament, to the Dead Sea. Yeah.
Nice. And you're not doing an internship?
So no, I'm not doing an internship at the moment. I kind of threw myself into learning Hebrew.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. A lot of students do internships. We have a practicum course, which is an internship for credit plus a class. I differentiate between the word practicum and internship only to make things easy. Other students just do an internship, meaning they're not doing the practicum course. Because they don't want to commit to doing 120 hours, for example, or they want to do more, or they want to do a few placements. We've had that sometimes where people volunteer in different organizations for a couple of weeks and then just to check it out. So sometimes that works. Organizations always want you for as long as possible because they want to get as much work done as possible, and they're all, it's all very chaotic in the NGO world. So they're always happy to have help. Trying to think of anything else that comes up. Housing. No, those are the issues that I can think of. Well, anyone watching this, if you have any questions, feel free to email me and be happy to answer your questions or let you speak to one of our either current students or past students.
Yeah, feel free to find me on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever. Send me a message. I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Great. Well, thanks everyone. And thank you, Jordan, for taking part in this. It's great. And everyone, I hope you all have a good evening. I assume we're all in this similar time zone. So yes, evening. Okay, bye. Bye, Francesca.
See ya.
Bye. Thank you.
Welcome. Take care.